Hello everyone, dear students. This e-content describes line-by-line analysis of the poem The Paradise Lost, lines 221 to 217, written by John Milton. John Milton's author's note. He was born on 9th December, the year of 1609, and died in 8th November, the year of 1674, was an English poet, polemist, and civil servant. In 1667, the author had written the epic poem Paradise Lost, was written in blank verse and includes 12 books and written in the time of immense religious flux and political upheaval. It addresses the fall of man, includes the temptation of Adam and Eve by the fall of fallen angel Satan and God's expulsions of them from the Garden of Eden. Paradise Lost elevated Milton's reputation as one of the history's greatest poet. He also served as a civil servant for the Commonwealth of England under its Council of State and later under Oliver Cromwell. Read the poem Paradise Lost, Book 1, lines 221 to 217. Is this the region, this the soil, the clime? Said the lost archangel, this the seat, that we must change heaven, this mournful gloom. For that celestial light beats so since he, who now in sovereign can dispose and bid, what shall be right, farthest is from him is the best, whose reason has equalled, whose them made supreme. Above this equal farewell, happy fields, where joy of ever dwells. Hail, honors, hail, eternal world, and thou professed hell, receive the news, professor, one who brings a mind not to be changed by the place of time. The mind is its own place, and it in it itself can make a heaven of hell or hell of heaven. What matters why? I shall be still the same, and what I should be, but less than he, whom thunder that had made greater, here at least we shall be free, that Almighty hath done built. Here for this envy will not drive us hence. Here we may reign secure, and my choice to reign in the world ambitious, though in hell. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. But wherefore let we then our faithful friends, thy associates and corporates of our loss, lie thus astonished on the oblivious pool, and call them not to share with us with their part in this unhappy mansion, or once more virile arms to try what made it regained in heaven, or what more lost in he. Let us see the characters found in this poem. Character 1, Saturn, the speaker of the entire passage, referred as to be the lost archangel, the central character expressing pride and diffidence and ambitious. Then second character is God, which is referred as in the Almighty, Sovereign, and also referred as in He. Not directly present, but repeatedly referred by Saturn, called He who now in Sovereign, Thy Almighty, whom thunder has made great. Then third character, Blisibum, though not directly speaking in the specific expert, but to present in the scene. Saturn is talking to him after both have fallen into hell. Then fourth character is the fallen angel, Saturn's followers, referred to collectively as faithful friends, associates and corporates of our loss, those lying on the oblivion pool. This includes angel like Manmouth, Moloch, Belial, etc. They are not named in the specific passage. Let us see line by line explanation of this poem. Is this the region, the soil, the climate? In this line, the author says the Saturn looks around the hill in a shocking manner and in disbelief, now asking his followers, the fallen angel, is this really the place, the land, the climate where they must live? Line number 2, said then the lost archangel in the seat. The lost archangel, this is considered to be the Saturn, the head of the hell, asks his followers whether this horrible place is being given to them now, and the throne and dwelling assigned to them, and as a Saturn as the head of the hell to reign thereafter. Line number 3, that we must change for heaven this mournful gloom. In this line, the archangel, the head, the Saturn, asks his followers, the fallen angel, if they truly must exchange heaven for the sorrowful darkness, the place, the hell, as their kingdom. Line 4, for the celestial light. Here the celestial light refers to the brightness of the heaven, and the Saturn contrasts the gloomy darkness of hell with the bright divine light of heaven that they have lost. Line 5, be it so since he. Saturn regains himself as the head of the hell in this situation, and so be it. Line 6, who now sovereign can dispose and bid what shall be right. Here Saturn bitterly acknowledges that God is referred as the sovereign, as authority to decide what is right and how it should be done. Line 7, farthest from him is the best. At last Saturn claims that the farthest is from God. It is better to reign in hell than the servant in the heaven under the head of God. Line 8, whom reason hath equalled, forth has made supreme above his equals. Here Saturn argues that by the reason he was equal to God, but force, God's power, made God superior, showing Saturn's pride and refusal to accept the divine authority. Line 9, farewell happy fields, where joy for ever dwells. In this line, Saturn bids farewell to heaven, though joyful fields where happiness is eternal. Line 10, hail horse, hail, infernal world, and thou professed hell. Here Saturn greets the horrors of hell and deep infernal world with kind and definite welcome. Line 11, receive thy new professor. Here the hell could accept him as a new ruler or inhabitant. Therefore, the hell followers accept Saturn as a new professor, a new head to reign. Line 12, one who brings a mind not to be changed by place or time. In this line, Saturn brings a mind cannot be changed by location or time. His determination remains the same, even his mind does not change when shifting from heaven to hell. Line 13, the mind is its own place and itself can make heaven of hell and hell of heaven. In these lines, Saturn claims that mind has a power to create its own heaven of hell. Attitude determines experience. This is one of the most famous lines in this poem. Line 14, what matter when it be still the same? It doesn't matter whether he is, as long as remain himself. Line 15, and what I should be, all less than he whom thunder hath made greater. In this line, Saturn insists he is everything that he should be except less than God, because God's superior power, the thunder, made him greater. Line 16, here at least we shall be free, Almighty has not built. Here for him his envy will not drive us hence. In these lines we could find Saturn is the head, will be free from God's power, and God did not build hell, and therefore God will not banish them from it. And Saturn and his followers can remain here without interference of God, and Saturn confessed that all could be happy, and none other envious state could drive them far rest. Line 17, here we may reign secure in my choice, and to reign with worth ambitious though in the hell. Here in this line, Saturn says that they can rule safely and they can go for choice of their own, and for Saturn, the ruler, even in health, it seems worth ambitious. He confers hell seems to be very ambitious to reign a hell rather than be a servant in a heaven. Line 18, better to reign in hell and than serve in heaven. In this famous declaration of Saturn is very famous that it is better to be ruler in terrible place than the servant in a glorious one. Hence, Saturn confirms that it is better to be powerful king in hell than be a scum servant under the supreme head of God. Line 19. But wherefore let we then our faithful friends. In these lines, Saturn questions why they are neglecting for their loyal followers. Line 20. They associates and cooperates of our laws. These lines, these companions share their default and fall from heaven to hell. Line 21. Lie thus astonished on the oblivion pool. This line, everyone says they lie unconscious on the oblivious pool, the lake of fire, stunned and unaware of the hell. Line 22. And call they not share with their part an unhappy mansion. Here in this line, Saturn wonders why they haven't called their companions to join them, their new sorrowful home, which is referred as in hell. Line 23, or once more with railed arms and to try what may be it regained in heaven and what more lost in hell. Here in this line, Saturn suggests that gathering their forces again, either to attempt or regain something in heaven and to find out additional losses of opportunity hell may offer. It hints that at the further rebellious and plotting against God. Let us see the structure and form of the poem. Epic poem written in blank verse. The entire poem, including in passage written in blank verse, the blank verse unrhymed iambic pentameter. Unrhymed means no rhyming scheme. Iambic pentameter means each line usually has 10 syllables in the pattern of unstressed plus stressed beats. For example, da dum da dum da dum da dum da dum. We can notice that 5 syllables which has been followed by unstressed and stressed beats. This creates a grand and elevated suitable for epic themes. The next is Miltonic style of blank verse. The Milton's blank verse is distinctive, uses enjambment line flowing into one another with the full stops, heavy use of caesuras, pause with the lines, inverted and conventional syntax of word order can create an emphasis, a grandeur could find in this poem. The poem lines are very long and a complex sentence extending across many lines. This gives the poem a majestic and biblical and oratorical tone. The next is elevated epic language is most significant in this poem. The passage demonstrates epic similes and through not long here but appears elsewhere, and formal dictions is used which sovereign is professed hell and celestial light has been used in this poem. Then classical influences echoes Virgil and Homer. The next is dramatic monologue within the epic is most significant in this poem. And although it is a part of epic narrative, this section functions like dramatic monologue of Saturn. The Saturn speaks at length, seems to be in the form of dramatic monologue. He expresses philosophy, pride, and rebellions against God, and shows psychological depth and in self-justification of his own. So the form is of the poem is epic verse, but in the mode of is seems to be dramatic speech. Next is non-stanzaic form. Paradise Lost does not use stanzas. It is written in a continuous verse paragraph and also collision verse paragraph or a block of blank verses. This creates a flow of narrative quality. Flexibility of long descriptive and argumentative passage could be found throughout the poem. Next is epic convention presences, such as even in a small expert, elements of epic poetry appears throughout the poem. Invocation of higher powers could be found elsewhere in Book 1, Paradise Lost. Then we can see epic heroes such as God and anti-heroes speech of Saturn's character here plays a vital role in Paradise Lost Book 1. Cosmetic settings such as heaven versus hell, creation is too majestically and wonderfully created by John Milton. Grand themes like rebellion, freedom, ambitious, divine justice are prominent concept dominant in this book, Paradise Lost, Book 1. Let us see the literary device found in this poem. 1. Blank verse. The entire passage is written in unrhymed iambic pentameter. For example, every lines of 10 syllables approximately with no rhythm, no stanzas. It is written an entire poem in blank verse. Next is apostrophe. Saturn addresses inanimate places as if they could hear him, such as farewell, happy fields, then hail horrors, hail infernal world, then receive thy new professor. This all creates a dramatic intensity and shows Saturn's definite leadership. Next device is alliteration. Repetition of constant sound is known as an alliteration, such as farewell, happy fields. This phrase, farewell, fur sound, and is repeated in the next last word, feel, fur. So fur is an alliteration, repetition of the fur sound is get repeated. Then the next phrases, hails, her sound, horus, her sound, then hails, her sound, that is hail, horus, hail. Her sound is repeated 3 times. The next phrases, better to reign in hell than serve in servant. Here, her sound in hell and her sound in heaven is repeated. Then mournful gloom, we could find, okay, mer sound is repeated and adds rhymes and emphasis. This is all alliterations found in this poem. Then paradox, contradictory ideas with the hidden truth is known as in paradox. For example, this phrase, the mind is in own place. Here, okay, the mind represents Saturn's mind is flexible when he been drastically shifted from heaven to hell. His mind is stable. So this phrases it says inner ideas about that is stable mind of Saturn. Next phrase can make a heaven of hell and hell of heaven. This lines he says that it shows that Saturn's philosophy of self-deception and pride of his own mind setting and psychology of Saturn. And yet he proves that the state of mind of a Saturn never changes, even at being drastically shifted from heaven to hell. The next device is used is here antithesis. A strong contrast used for the dramatic effect is known as an antithesis. Of course, we could find heaven versus hell. A description is an antithesis. Could be found in this book, Paradise Lost. Then light versus gloom, and here the celestial light of hell is compared with the gloomy light of hell. Then we can see the contrast between dramatic effect of rain and serve. Rain here refers to the God's reign of heaven, and whereas uh, Saturn also, when he shift him drastically from heaven to hell, he says he confessed that it is better to be reign in hell than be a servant in heaven. Then we can see heaven's happy fields and hell's horrors is also compared to contrast of antithesis to brings in effect a dramatic scene. Then highlights Saturn's rebellious mindset. These are the antitheses found in the this poem, book 1. Next is imagery. A vivid sensory description is known as an imagery, and this in this book we could find a lot of imagery found in this book. such as the following phrases. It brings us about the highlights about imagery. For example, mournful gloom, which known as in visual darkness. Then we could see the next imagery is celestial light. The brightness of heaven is compared as in celestial light, and here Saturn he compares the gloomy light to the celestial light of heaven to hell. Next one is profound hell, and the deep and terror has been compared to the imagery as in profoundest hell. The scene description is so majestically and wonderfully described by John Milton. Next is oblivious pool, and here the lake of the fire where the angel is stunned, and these are all so a lot of imageries would so majestically and wonderfully created by John Milton, which creates an epic setting. The next literary device found in this poem is antithesis, such as the strong contrast is used for dramatic purpose is known as antithesis. The following phrases are antitheses that found in this book, Paradise Lost, Book 1, such as heaven and hell. The description of hell and heaven is so majestically described by John Milton. And light was gloom, the light of celestial light of hell and gloomy light of hell are compared. Both of them are contrast of celestial light of heaven and gloomy light of hell is so wonderfully. It is a two contrast a term is used by author for in order to bring a dramatic effect of this epic poem. Next is rain was serve. The rain here refers to the reign of God in heaven, and serve here refers to the serve of Saturn and his followers to God. And these are two contrast version of heaven and hell is also made use in this poem. And heaven happy field and hell's horrors. Whereas heaven's happy field is refers to God and goddesses are all happy in the field of heaven, whereas in hell it is only horrors and grief and sorrow could be find. It is always entirely gloomy in hell. So do both term of heaven and hell has been used by author in a fantastic manner to bring the dramatic effect of this poem. This all this were phrases that highlight the Saturn's rebellious mindset against God. Next literary device is imagery. Imagery means a vivid image, a sensory description is known as an imagery. The following phrases we can see of some of the imageries used in Paradise Lost Book 1, such as mournful gloom. Mournful gloom means a visual darkness. This visual darkness could be found in hell. The next one is celestial light. Celestial light means brightness of heaven. And next one is profound hell. Profound hell is the deep and terror of the hell is a profoundest hell. The last one is oblivious pool, and this oblivious pool means a lake of the fire where all the angel lie stunned. It seems to be oblivious pool. So all this imagery is so fantastically and wonderfully interwoven by the verse of John Milton in Paradise Lost Book 1. So with this all this imagery and as well as it creates the epic setting of the poem. The next literary device is metaphor. In the following lines we could find metaphor such as the mind is its own place. In this phrase, the author compares the mind of Saturn to a realm of or a kingdom. Next phrase is new professor. In this phrase, a metaphor has been used, such as to explain Saturn's metaphorically claims hell is a ruler over land. Next, personification is one of the literary device used in this phrases, such as receive thy new professor. In this, we can refer Saturn shows is ambitious to roll the hell out of heaven. So he treats hell as if we're alive and it in this phrase, so he consider better to rule hell than to be a servant in heaven. Next device is hyperbole. Hyperbole means a bold exaggeration. The following lines hyperbole could be found where joy forever dwells. In this phrase, we can see the heaven means a place or a state of being a true lasting happiness and deep contentment are permanently found everlasting. The next is profoundest hell. In this phrase, the author used magnifying emotional contrast a bit refers to the deepest, most extreme form of fallen state just as a physical location but a state of mind and inner despair. The next device is irony. The following lines we can see irony. Here at least we shall be free. Better to reign in heaven than serve in heaven. Here we can see Saturn glorifies hell as a place of a freedom. A tragic irony because hell is a place of punishment, sorrow, pain, horror, which is not meant for liberty. Next device is inversion, hyperbaton. Milton rearranges normal words order of emphasis. In the following lines, whom reason hath equalled, force hath made supreme, and what matter wherever if it is still the same. In this line, Saturn gives the verse of an epic and classical feeling in his speech to say that no reason all are equal and forces any forces that made him a supreme hero of the hell and whatever matter whether in heaven or hell his mind remains same. Next later devices elevated diction. The use of grand and formal vocabulary such as sovereign, celestial, infernal, profundest, then Professor Almighty. These are some of the elevated dictions used by John Milton to enhance the epic tone throughout the poem. The next little device is dramatic monologue. The whole excerpt is a long and powerful speech of Saturn reliving about his pride, his ambition, his refusal to repent, and his leadership overall a fallen angel, and to reign hell. Next is symbolism. Many elements symbolizes moral or spiritual ideas, such as light equal to God's presence, goodness, and to be mentioned as a happy field of heaven. And the next is symbolism. We can see darkness versus gloom, which is meant for the gloom and darkness are meant it's equal to sin, rebellion of Saturn and his followers. Next symbolism is hell, the consequence of his pride of Saturn. Then next is thunder. The thunder is here refers to the God's power, his greatness, and the supreme ruler of the world. Next, the last is freedom of hell is also one of the symbol that Saturn's self-dissolution, even it is in the dark hell, full of horror, punishment, sin. He compares equals with the celestial light with the heaven, and he feels free to be a king in heaven rather than be a servant in the heaven of, to God. The last little device is epic conventions. The author John Milton has applied epic convention throughout his poem Paradise Lost. Since this is an epic poem, it includes heroic, though fallen speech of Saturn and his fellow angels is also one of the epic convention could be found in this verse of Paradise Lost. Then grand setting, we can see the grand setting of heaven and hell, which seems to be majestic appearance and wonderful creations in the verse of John Milton. Then elevated style and the theme of cosmic conflicts are the vital epic conventions applied by John Milton in his verse, through which abundantly found in Paradise Lost Book 1.